The following podcast contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion advised.
And although we joke, if you or someone you know is affected by or a victim of domestic violence, dial 1-800-799-7233 or visit the National Domestic Violence Hotline's website, thehotline.org.
But it's always the husband, it's always the husband, it's always the husband. I don't keep bed.
Hey, everybody, this is Sarah.
And this is Megan.
And you're listening to It's Always the Husband podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you for listening to this podcast.
This is a true crime podcast, sort of.
Right.
Where we barely talk about true crime. We mostly make fun of people and we...
Ourselves? I don't know.
Mostly ourselves, yeah.
And our friends.
So, welcome.
And Nupbar.
Yeah. She's 62 now. So...
Yeah, that's old.
It's very old. It's very old. So, what's up this week? What happened to you?
Nothing.
What did you do?
There was Easter. I didn't do much.
Did you celebrate the Lord's
I didn't.
resurrection?
Well, I didn't.
You didn't.
Well, I had people around.
Oh.
I personally didn't.
You didn't.
The other
Oh.
people maybe celebrated. I celebrated with my mother, my daughter's birthday, and my sister,
Yes.
and a little bit of Easter.
Okay.
And then I had Easter here. My husband cooked, James.
What did he make?
He made pork.
A ham?
No,
Or
he made like pulled pork.
Oh.
A pork shoulder or whatever. It took forever, but he made two, so I have a mountain of pork. And I don't care for pork.
You love pork.
Yeah.
Pork in.
But it was very good.
Okay. But you don't like it?
I like it in a Cuban sandwich.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, so get a bunch of ham.
I don't know how to make it.
It's just pickles and ham and pulled pork.
Yeah. I just feel it's bad when I make it.
No. You can do it. You can do anything. I'll send you a good...
Yeah. Maybe if I
recipe.
can follow that.
Okay, you can do it.
What did you do? Your parents?
I went to my mom and dad's, and the kids drove the golf cart around, and then I took a nap. Well, we went to church because we do celebrate the Lord's resurrection.
Oh, I'm glad.
And we sang, Jesus Christ is risen today. And
Did you sing Bringing in the Sheaves? Like
we did
the
it.
Ingalls? Oh.
Shoot. We should bring that back
Yeah.
at church. Remind me to talk to my pastor about it. So we went to church, and I was the first one ready.
No.
Yeah.
No.
My dad and I left in his truck alone.
No.
With no one else was ready.
Nutbar wouldn't stand for that.
That bitch didn't even get up.
Oh, well.
She did not go to church.
Because she goes, go, 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 go.
Yes. Yep. Yep. The night before she, and then she was like, I'm not going to church. So she didn't even try to wake up. And my dad and I were the first one there, and we had to save spots
How embarrassing for you and
for
your
the
family.
rest of the family. Yep. That was
Good for you.
losers. Thanks.
I'm proud.
Thank you. And then I took a nap because it was rainy on Easter, and it was like a lovely nap time. So
Yes.
my whole family just shoved our face full of food that my mom made, and it was
Very
delicious.
good.
And then we all took a nap. Family fun.
Well, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
So your parents can watch your goddamn kids.
Well, they were
maybe?
taking naps
Oh,
too.
good.
Everyone took a nap.
So what got you through the week besides your nap?
So
Your glitter in the shitter.
well, I love a nap.
Yeah.
Sorry, my earrings are bothering me with these headphones on. Okay. I love a good nap. I wanted to mention that the pants that I told everyone about 2 weeks ago. Did you order yours yet?
I have not yet.
Okay, well, guess what? They're fucking sold out because
Oh,
they're that
no.
good. Yeah. My two friends.
Oh, no.
My two friends that bought them.
Yes.
Who are, I guess, my true friends. 'Cause
I know,
You didn't
well-
even buy them. Alicia and Gemma were texting me like, you know these pants are good when you don't even take them off when you get home because
Yeah.
they're so comfortable.
I know.
And then
That then you know.
Jem said, yeah, they're good when you wear them, then you take them off because you don't want to get them dirty because you want to wear them again the next day.
Or
True.
sleep in them and just wear them.
Yeah, just keep wearing them. They never wrinkle. They're so cute. So anyway, they're sold out.
So we'll have to like keep it on a list or something.
Keep your eyes open for them.
Well,
tell yourself
inspired people to get it.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure it was my influence that sold these fuckers out. But besides those pants, I want to say that my favorite part, my glitter and my shitter, was taking my son to the Minecraft movie.
Oh,
I actually
saw
liked
that he
it.
went.
I didn't hate it.
You didn't hate it. I thought you would hate something like that. Absolutely despise.
It was funny.
Was it?
Yes. I thought maybe I'll just fall asleep. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I thought, well, who cares? I'll get some. I like popcorn.
Yeah.
I'll get some popcorn. He's super excited. He wore his creeper mask. It was so freaking cute. And he, I thought, oh, whatever, I'll fall asleep. But both Phil and I stayed awake and we laughed and we liked it.
That's good.
Yeah. Jason Momoa was funny.
He was?
Yeah.
His clip-on bangs are off-putting.
Oh, they're very off-putting, but when you know his character, it's perfect.
Well, good. Yeah, I have deodorants who have seen it like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people are insane about it. All my deodorants are singing
oh, God.
lava chicken and chicken jockey and
that's
all this shit. Yeah. But I actually enjoyed it.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, so that was fun.
I mean, it's good that people are going to the movies. I like that.
I love a good movie.
Yeah. That makes me happy.
What's yours?
Mine is the same podcast I had before, but a season 3.
What podcast?
Donnie Wahlberg's Very Scary People. This is what I sent to you guys. Season 3.
When did you send it? Today?
Like a while ago. And I said, listen to this. And the only one that responded was Kelly.
Oh, no.
And I said, you will die. So it's Very Scary People. It is narrated by Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Season 3. I mean, all the seasons. I did season 1 was my glitter.
I listened to that one. That was the
you were here.
Amity horror, right? Yeah.
And that one I liked.
Okay.
This season 3, it just ended, so all of them are available. Like this week was the last one, so you can just go through all of them and not have to wait to see what happens. I can't even. It's just so unreal that you can't believe this happened.
Okay.
So each episode is really short, so you can just kind of burn through them. But it'll blow your butthole off. And you'll be just... It's unbelievable how this could happen to somebody.
Very scary people.
So, unreal.
Is it red now?
I don't know. You mean the color?
Oh, Ken and Barbie was the second. Oh, that one was bad.
I know. That one's really bad.
Yeah.
Though they're too evil for me to even listen to. And I listen to all this stuff. Those two I can't handle.
I know. That was like your one
and
thing.
they're Canadian. Talk about badass Canadians. When they kill, they just go nuts.
God. Okay.
So that it's just such an unbelievable story that keeps getting worse. And you just wonder how did it continue? Unreal. So it's in every episode ends and you have to listen to the next one. Okay. So about the Matuzowitz family.
Oh, and I'm sure Donnie says it the best.
Matuzowitzes.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, there it is. Okay.
You have to listen.
Okay.
And then we also have social media like Facebook, a Facebook group, and Instagram, and all of that. In our Facebook group, we usually like to pick a funny fucker of the week.
Well, just so that you don't listen to this and think, oh my God, this is so funny. I wish I could be a part of it. Let me just tell you, you can just go to Facebook and search It's Always the Husband podcast group.
Yeah. And then just join in.
You just ask, do we even have to let people in anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we like to pretend we're exclusive, but we're not. Just ask and then ye shall enter. And then it's just very funny and gross. And so we like to honor our fans and
it's
the participators.
You can't be sensitive.
No, you
and
can't.
Be in it.
No.
But you can also comment on episodes, ask questions, or respond to things we say.
Yeah.
Which is good to get a back and forth because we can't hear you guys, so we can hear you through that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. It hit me, Becky Haney, I hope I'm saying that right. She put the alternate curse words list up. So instead of saying fucker, you fucker, she made other words. There was a list of other words you can use. And, it's just kind of dorky words, like when you're exasperated or whatever. But one was buckethead. Started giggling so bad. Just instead of calling you a motherfucker, just say buckethead. What is a buckethead? I don't
Someone
know.
who has a bucket on their head.
Cripes was on there, and that's one of my favorite words. It's
you
cripes.
Love cripes.
Yeah. But then I remembered I saw a list. I don't know where it was, on Twitter or something. It's 23 emotions people feel but can't explain. And it's 23 weird words that describe weird emotions.
Okay.
Like one is sonder, the realization that each passerby has a life that's as vivid and complex as your own. Like that's kind of deep, when you're watching people go by and like their life is, like a weird in your head. One, I laughed because I thought of our group is called Anecdouche. Something like the Anecdouche. It's a conversation in which everyone is talking, but nobody is listening. It's like that's us every day.
All the time.
No, everyone is talking at the same time, telling a different story, and no one's listening to any of it.
We're all sending our own story or text or meme, and no one's actually watching. The other ones are talking about them.
None.
We are.
So I'm like, we are Anecdouche.
Yes.
It's not an anecdote, it's an Anecdouche.
I love it.
So, but the words on there that she had were pretty funny. And I did like Nikki Bolin, I think it was, who had put the little picture of the family whose cat brought in the rabbit, and that was like a pissed off rabbit in a little, like someone's cat brought in a rabbit, and so the rabbit was all pissed off, and they had it in a little cage with a carrot until they could let it go again, and it was like this picture of this pissed off rabbit. And I remember, like, my cat, when I was a kid, would kill rabbits all the time.
Yeah.
You'd just hear the rabbits screaming. But then Randy brought in a cat or a rabbit, and it was still alive. No, it was the dogs. Oh. The dogs caught a rabbit, and we caught it, and it was still alive and had like a little wound, and we cleaned it. I put it in a little not a Tupperware, but like a bin with like lettuce and stuff just for overnight while I treated like it had like a little bite mark.
Of course you did, because you're
and then we woke up,
mother.
And the rabbit was gone. So it was somewhere in the house, and we had to hunt all over for this little rabbit that was in our home, hiding somewhere,
leaving rabbit pellet turds
and
everywhere.
Upstairs, it was all the way downstairs, like in the corner in the basement, and so we had to look all over and find it before the dogs found it and ate it. But I just thought, oh my God, how many people have had rabbits in their home from their pets? Bring them in.
Howard, my cat, used to bring up live mice.
Oh God. Oh,
in the middle of the night,
catching them. Oh God,
I could hear it. He would go boom. But, you could hear him like batting it around, but he would leave it alive. Like we were supposed to be like, good job, Howard.
No, you got to
Except it was 3 a.m. and it was a live fucking mouse.
Oh, God.
No, thanks, Howard.
He just didn't go for the kill.
No, he thought it was funny. So I have a couple. First of all, Tiffany Westland, why did you put that giant gooey duck muscle thing that people eat that looks like a huge, long
dong
elephant dick?
Schwanz. People eat the grossest wangs.
And people eat it. And also then this guy was like cutting, there's balls on the oyster or I don't get what a gooey duck is.
Balls?
I don't get it. I've never eaten it. I've seen it now several times, but this just, I watched it, Tiffany, I watched it like,
what is it? An ocean creature?
4 times. It looks like it comes out of a shell.
Oh.
Like a mussel.
A mussel dong?
But it is a legitimate dick. And then it has a
Why do people eat it?
okay, this is what it says on. This is what the AI. This is what AI told me on Google. A geoduck is a large saltwater clam native to the Pacific Northwest. It's known for its extremely long siphon, which can extend up to 3 feet. It's a culinary symbol of the region and is often served in various ways, including raw.
No,
thank you. In hot pot or stir fried.
No.
The geoduck is also a highly valuable seafood, with individuals sometimes priced at $150 per pound.
To eat a wang? A siphon wang?
This is what
Why
they
do you want
look
to eat a
like.
siphon wang?
Sarah.
What does it taste like? Wang? Oh, no. Don't do this. Just go have a hamburger like everybody else.
But then they like opened it and some balls came out or something. It wasn't really balls, but that's what it looked like. And that's what they were eating raw. And it didn't.
No.
And Sarah,
you're gonna end up like that woman who got the squid ink all over her face.
Things squirt out of it.
No.
When you hold it, you can squirt things out of it.
I don't need things squirting out of it anywhere around me.
Well, Tiffany, that was alarming.
Yeah.
And I watched it 100 times. And I still don't understand it.
I can't do seafood.
Please
thank the maker.
Search it. I like to think that I eat a lot of foods. Like I try a lot of things. I don't know that
picky.
I could. You are picky.
I'm picky. Yeah. I am.
Yeah.
I'm not adventurous.
No. And I am, but I don't know if I could eat that.
I think you could if it was a stir fry.
And I didn't know.
Yeah. You would try it if it was like cooked. I think. And that wasn't the ball. It was maybe a meat.
People really say it's delicious. I don't understand it. They have a mild, slightly sweet flavor, kind of, and it says it's not overly fishy.
Oh, I just couldn't get past the dong look.
If you eat the siphon part, which is like the dong part, it says it's known for its crisp cucumber-like texture. People are eating these raw?
No.
Cooked geoduck is slightly chewier.
Eee.
The neck is often preferred raw, while the body can be cooked in various ways. What?
I just don't say pass.
What? Anyway,
I'll take the chicken. That's what I'll say.
That scared me. So,
wow.
Thanks, Tiff.
All right. Should we start this shit show?
Let's start.
I found a Forensic Files.
We hadn't watched it.
Yeah. I listened to it in my car and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? Oh, I hadn't heard of this one. Or I had and I lost it again.
No, we had never watched this one.
No, we had not. Mm-mm. We had not done this one. Mm-mm. So, all right. This is a Forensic Files called Crash Course.
Yeah, it was.
And it takes place in Minnesota, not that far from where my sister lives. Still a little bit north of her, a bit.
Yes, this is a Minnesota story.
It's a Minnesota story.
Mm-hmm. Soda.
With lots of terrible accents like ours.
They did.
So it starts with this highway patrolman who looks like a highway patrolman, typical highway patrolman, Tony Snyder. He looks like if you were to cast a highway patrolman,
a Minnesota
highway patrolman, then he walks right in and you're like, that's what he looks like.
He's got a buzz.
Yeah, and a mustache.
Yep, kind of blondish hair.
Yep, he looks like police officer.
Yep.
So he's heading home. He's finished his night shift. And so then he gets a call that there's been a traffic accident on Route 95. Who the hell knows where that is, but it's the middle of nowhere, really. Outside of Princeton, Minnesota. And you'd think, is Princeton, Minnesota like Princeton, the college full of smart people? I don't think so.
No offense.
To
anyone who lives there. Yeah. Do we have listeners in Princeton?
Maybe. I don't know.
Give us a shout out if we do.
It was so Patrolman Tony says it was maybe 10 miles from my house. So I said I'd do it.
I'll
of course he would.
On the way home.
He's already off shift.
Yeah.
But a Minnesotan would say, you know what? It's close to me. I'm going to take it.
Sure would.
And that's what we do. So Patrolman Tony, he stops and he's like, what? what? What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been a 2-vehicle car crash. The one vehicle is a Jeep with passengers in it. The other vehicle is a abandoned, unoccupied vehicle that was parked on the side of the road.
Right.
So already he's like, something's not right, because there was a Jeep that apparently just decided to ram the asshole of a parked car on the side of the road. So he's thinking, all right, maybe there's this booze hound, like a booze hound just ran into.
Was like, oh shit. Yeah.
But he goes up to it.
But then it wasn't.
And there's some, patrolman already there. And they show pictures of this Jeep. It's a red Jeep. Well, the front, like if you're looking at it to the front, if you're looking at the windshield, the front of the car, only like the passenger side front is crumpled a little bit, but not crumpled to the windshield. So like the front.
No, it looks like nothing happened.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of the front is crumpled, and it doesn't even reach like to the windshield. So the side, like the passenger side front tire around there is a bit crashed. That's it. That's the only thing you see. And then on the parked car, like the back driver's tire is like scraped off a bit. So that's the accident with the cars. But he gets there and he's like, holy shit, there's a dead female in the snow outside the car, and she's covered with a blanket. And they show it in Forensic Files.
And the inside of the car is a complete fucking disaster.
There's blood in the snow, and he looks in the Jeep where the female, there's a deceased female who was sitting in the passenger side of the Jeep that ran into the ass of the parked car. And that seat is gray, but it's currently red because it was covered in blood top to bottom.
Right.
The passenger door, blood top to bottom. Blood everywhere for a crinkle crash. So he's already like, something's wrong in his head. The driver was the husband of the deceased female that was laying in the snow with blood already seeping into the snow. She was losing so much blood. So the driver was a man named Steve Hollermann, and Tony Patrol said he was just screaming and yelling and covered in blood, and he got sent to the hospital. But his 41-year-old wife, Deb, was dead in this accident. Yeah. So already Patrolman Tony is thinking, just by looking at it, everything in his head is like, something's not right.
Well, like, this can't be real.
Right. And everyone else around him is kind of just like, whatevs, this seems normal.
Oh, too bad she died.
So he feels like, okay, am I the only one kind of seeing things here?
And he's like, I backed into my neighbor's car across the street and made more of a dent than this
So
crash.
He's just already very suspicious.
Yeah.
So about Deborah, we do see, I think, her brother, who does say she was life of the party, fun. Everyone liked Deb.
Didn't have
They
any
show
enemies.
her photo. She has a photo with her cat and a photo with her Santa bear. Where if you were Minnesotan, Santa bears were big from Dayton.
Everybody had
Santa bears every year. So she had, so she looked very just normal and happy and smiling in every picture. So the husband, Steve Hollermann, he survives the crash with very minor injuries. While again, Deb bled out from massive, we'll get to what she had, but there was blood from the top to the bottom and the side to the side.
She passed away.
And she passed in this accident. He had very minor injuries. They give him a toxicology test because they figure he has to be ham-boned up the asshole to drive into a parked car from a highway, but he has 0 drugs or alcohol in the system. And they're thinking, are you on Jenkum? Are you on some sort of angel dust? Are you on something? Are you sniffing glue, bath salts, Tide Pods? Nothing. He just, drove into a parked car. So they say, hey, Steve, what were you doing? So he tells investigators that he and Deb were on their way home from shopping when I just drove off the highway and stuck the parked car. And so Tony Patrol says, I mean, do you remember what you hit? And Steve says, I hit the car. And then Tony Patrol says, but did you know where the car was? And Steve says, yeah, on the shoulder. And then Tony says, but did you see the car when you hit it?
Why were you over there?
Yeah, he says, yeah, I saw the taillights. And then he said, Tony Patrol says, did you even try to stop or like maneuver the car away from hitting the parked car? And he said, I didn't have time to do that. So Steve says that he was driving about 60 miles an hour at the time of the accident. And he just sees the car on the side of the road and I guess veers into it at 60 miles an hour. He, of course, was wearing his seatbelt, but Deb wasn't. And then we get her son, Eric McBroom, was a different last name. So I wonder if he was from a different.
Yeah, he didn't seem to
no. Eric, the son, was like, that's fucked because she always wore seatbelts and was like super religious about everybody wearing a seatbelt. She would wear a seatbelt. There's no way she would be in a car without her goddamn seatbelt on. He's like, that's fucking wrong.
Everyone's ass for getting their seatbelt on.
Wear your goddamn seatbelt or I'm not starting this car, you fuckers.
Buckle up, bitches.
So this is where they get to the autopsy of Deb. The medical examiner, and they show this x-ray.
Yeah.
Said there were some skull fractures, and it looks like her brain had been jolted violently inside her skull from side to side. No, they show the x-ray. Her skull is like in pieces. The crack in her skull at the top is like, it's cracked.
There are many cracks.
Bits.
Yeah.
It's just broken and shudders. I mean, it's just cracked to shit. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a violent, horrendous, where the top of her skull is in pieces. It is just in pieces. So from a bump? No. And so Tony is just like, no, you don't crack your shit-ass skull wide open with a bump.
But everyone
was like, this is like normal. I mean, gosh.
Cracked her skull, must be from the accident. She's dead.
Yeah, her brain has just been totally violently spaghettied. So prosecutor, we see Jeffrey Edblad. What the hell kind of a name is that? Jeffrey Edblad. But he says the pathologist did the autopsy and the death was the result of a motor vehicle accident. It was just an accident. And he's saying what they thought at the time. Right. All of her skull fracture, her bruising of her brain, and all of the extreme blunt force trauma and all injuries all her body are consistent with a motor vehicle crash. No, bitch. Not like the one where you barely have any damage to the front of your car.
And look at her husband.
You don't have
Nothing happened to him.
Your skull doesn't break into tiny pieces.
No.
I don't know. So this is Tony. Tony says, I was sick to my stomach when I heard these words because I thought it was a dead end now. They said an accident on the autopsy report, so no one can investigate and until it says murder or unknown, right? If it says accident or whatever, you can't really get an investigation.
Right.
And so because he had eyes and because he had a brain, he's looking at her body in the car accident and realizing like there's so much more to this. So he's not sleeping. He said he was totally tore up. He says too, he's been to many accidents and he's seen several that are worse than this with less injuries. He's seen people that said their heads have gone clean through the windshield and they're just talking to him and, fine. And then their windshield was barely broken out and not even cracked. And her head is like in pieces. So he's like, nothing makes sense. And everybody else is acting like this makes sense. And then
they kept burning cop Tony too. Kept saying like he had absolutely no experience solving a murder. like they kept saying that over and over, like, and here's Officer Tony, still never did this before. Like, what?
But again, he's
seen 1,000 car accidents in his life.
And
like,
he knows, eyes. Yeah. And he can see what is in front of him.
Yes.
Anyone who has eyeballs can see this. So, of course, Tony Patrol also sees the blood. Like if you just took a 55-gallon drum of blood and poured it onto her seat and then just splashed it around the passenger side. That's what it looked like. Like it was all the way, like even behind the window behind her was filled with blood. The back of her seat was soaked with blood.
Yes.
I mean, there was so much fucking blood. And so again, you just have to have eyes to look at that and think there's something wrong here. And he also said, this is more blood than I've ever seen in my whole life. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was insane.
And all the local traffic investigators disagreed with Patrol Tony. The coroner disagreed with Patrol Tony. And everyone said it was an accident and that it was dead right there. So Tony's also says Deborah Hollermann's family was just pretty much only upset at that point, and we even see her brother. Why was there a car on the side of the road for days? No one was taking the car off the road. Why were they leaving it on the highway for someone just to drive into at 60 miles an hour like a drunken buffoon?
Right.
Why did no one take the car off the road? That's what they were upset about. And so Patrol Tony says, what the fuck? I'm not concerned about the goddamn abandoned car. What the hell's wrong with Steve Hollermann's driving to drive into a goddamn parked car? Who does that? If you're not 15 learning to drive.
Or hammered.
Yes, or ham-boned. And so again, he says, Steve, did a deer jump out? No. Steve, were you playing with like the radio, turning it from, the Jets to Gloria Esteban or something? No. Were you on your cell phone, Steve? No. Did you pass out, Steve? Black out?
Faint? Yeah.
Did you fall asleep? Oh, no. Steve, did you go to the Mary Ingalls School for driving? No. Steve, are you Mr. Magoo? No. Are you related to said Magoos?
He was not. No.
None.
It was
of
no
those
to
reasons.
all of those questions.
All of them were no. He just drove straight ass in to a parked car. At he says 60 miles an hour. Who with looking out at the road with full, driving skill, looking out the window, just turns the wheel and drives straight ass into a parked car with no distraction?
Right.
No, but then it's definitely your fault. You did terrible wrong things.
Right.
That's not right.
Why did
that's
they not
the wrong way to
say like that's vehicular?
Yeah, you killed her because you're totally incompetent.
Then.
Like right there, that should have been he should have been like, only an incompetent fuck nerd would drive into a fucking car on the side of the road on purpose.
Why?
Like an asshole.
I mean, he could have said, I saw a deer.
Yes.
Like, why?
I mean, and that happens to every Minnesotan.
He did not even try.
A moose? No.
No. It was too south for a moose.
Yeah.
But a deer would have been great. A turkey. A large turkey.
Yeah. Nothing.
Anything.
Oh.
A freaking possum.
No. So Steve again says, well, we were just heading home. We were shopping, heading home. So Steve's like, no. Because there's no fucking shopping bags in the car. Just gallons of fucking blood. So Tony Patrol decides to look at the store's camera. And they do show Deb and Steve going into the store.
They were
like
holding
he said,
hands.
and that's what I wrote too. They were holding hands.
Yeah.
And when you hear all the rest,
you're gonna want to
on
die.
both of them, I question why they were holding hands.
Yeah.
Yep. I can't. So they leave the store around 7:30 p.m., but the crash call was at 10 p.m. And so Tony Patrol says, what the fuck were they doing for all that time? Because he only had to drive 20 miles from the store to where they were staying, which is their summer home cabin.
And good Lord.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to live there?
No, it looked like a shit shack.
Yeah.
So there was no store stuff in the Jeep. So he's wondering, where the fuck was the stuff you purchased?
And he hadn't told him in his recount of the night, like, oh, we stopped and went out to dinner or something.
He didn't say any of that.
No.
So there's already a discrepancy. Then Tony Patrol gets an anonymous phone call. No, the people don't say their name, but they say this: Steve's been having an affair.
No.
What? Oh, no.
Listeners,
not Steve.
I bet you're so surprised right now.
And then when you do see Steve, you're like, oh,
Then
really?
you are surprised. Yeah.
What? Huh. So then another patrolman says, geez, there's some more pieces to this that we're unfamiliar with, and we got to look into it. Well, you think so, Sherlock? God damn it.
And all I could think of is like, what kind of a small town person are you? You should fucking know everybody's business.
Absolutely.
You should not have to wait for an anonymous phone call to know that this douche was having an affair.
Of course he was.
Come on.
Now, we're learning now that Deborah's friends, all of Deborah's friends knew that Steve was porking outside of the porking home and his wang was wandering. But they said Deborah did too.
She knew too.
And that she was going to confront him. But then why was she holding this fucker's hand?
Because she lived in a small town. She knew. What was she doing?
But don't hold his hand when you go into Menards.
I think she probably was like, maybe he's coming back around.
Oh, shit. You don't want any piece of that dick. You could have had way better. My God. So then in the reenactment, they show Steve with his girlfriend who was employed by the local hospital where Steve worked. Steve was a lab supervisor. She, I guess, was wang fiddler. The lady that's the girlfriend, did you see she had monster biggins? Her biggins had
Are you
biggins.
talking about the actor?
The actress.
The reenactress? Yeah.
The reenactor had monster biggins.
Yeah.
Like giant cans.
Yeah.
So you kind of were like, oh, yeah.
Then
that's why he's having an affair with her. She's got monster cans.
You understood in the reenactment. Yeah. We have no idea what this woman
what she looked like. So they question monster cans, and she says, yeah, we're having an affair. What of it? We've been screwing for a year. Yeah. We're totally in love.
Yeah.
And so she says that day they porked in the cabin.
Yeah.
The cabin that she and he were staying at too? Like, where was she during the day?
And then they live all summer?
They lived there, but it was winter.
She was at the other house.
Or do they have a house in Princeton and a cabin in Princeton?
Yes, they have a house, and then the cabin was like up on a lake, a little wet.
So she was at the house. He takes Biggins to the cabin and porks her. But then after they went shopping, they went to the cabin.
Yes.
So... yeah, the cabin was 1.5 miles from the crash site.
Because, what time of year was this?
Winter, because she was in the snow. I don't know the exact month.
Okay.
So the police get a warrant, search the cabin. They find evidence that Biggins told the police. They said the bed looked like it had been used in some way, meaning there was porking going on in the bed.
And it was just, this cabin is like... tiny.
It's
like 2 rooms, and so the bed was, or the couch was pulled out into
the Ingalls home was bigger.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
They discovered too that, I mean, I think they think that Deb and Steve went to the cabin before the shopping or after the shopping. And she sees that the bed had been porked in, and that there maybe were wine glasses or something that Biggins and Steve were drinking out of.
Something
yes.
There.
And she so Deborah lost her mind, saying like, you brought her
to our summer home,
the cabin, and porked her, or just confronted him at that point and got real mad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they think, this argument happened between them at some point. So now they want to think, did Steve really drive 60 miles an hour like he said into this parked car.
Right.
They do a whole bunch of physics. They show a Newton's cradle going back and forth. And pretty much they find out from all this physics and measuring and blah, 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 Steve was driving about 38 miles per hour. So not 60. And if he was driving 38 miles per hour, bitch could have put on the brakes, turned the car, and not just kept going and smashed into it. He had plenty of time to steer away from the parked car.
Right.
Because he was going 38.
1 mile an hour. Yeah.
Also, going 38 and hitting the car is different than 60. And so the crash was, again, half as strong. It does not account for her skull to crack like an egg.
Right.
So again, what the fuck is going on? Steve had at least figured at least 2 seconds to correct his course and still ran fuck first into this car. And he did admit he didn't swerve. He didn't hit the brake.
He didn't even try.
So
and he
again,
also didn't even try to lie.
Then you should have been. But your wife's dead, so you fuck her. That your driving is real bad. So bad you killed your wife. You need to go back to traffic school or something.
You sure do. Yep.
But again, Deb's family was still believing Steve and thought the police were giving him the runaround. This poor guy lost his wife, and now they're doing this to him.
Right.
Fuckers, I understand you're very upset, but please, you had not seen probably what Deb had gone through. Because if you also had eyes, you could just look at the scene and 3 seconds later know what happened.
You would know.
Like Tony.
Yeah.
Everybody else that looked at the scene that seemed to be confused that it was an accident has absolute rancid poop brain. They have no business doing their job. Their brain is full of shitty diarrhea. Someone took a big dump in their brain.
I mean, so many people.
So many. What are you not seeing that
Doctor,
a normal person
coroner,
could see? What are you not
every
getting?
EMT that was there.
What are you fucking not getting?
I don't know.
Idiots. I mean, then Tony Patrol is so upset that Steve isn't getting called for murder or getting, that he said he was at his Easter dinner with his family and he couldn't even eat, and his whole family thought that he was mad at them. And he was just so upset about Steve and Deb that he just wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping.
Right.
He just is seeing this man is getting away with murder and there's nothing he can do about it. And it was like eating him alive, and his whole family is like, Daddy doesn't love us anymore.
Did we say something wrong to him?
What's wrong with my husband? Why is he forsaken me? Is he having an affair? No, he's just so upset. So then Tony Patrol calls in Dr. Janice Amatuzio for a second opinion.
Is the hero of the story, but also this part was so funny and weird.
Oh, no. So she comes in and she looks like Janet from Three's Company.
Yeah.
Janice Amatuzio. She comes in and says, there's something we don't know here. And I think this case deserves more investigation because look at this. There's too much blood in that vehicle. So what she does, she says, I'm about the same size as Deb. So I sat in the seat where Deb died in. And I thought, oh my God, Deb died in this seat, but I needed to see it. Bitch, you could have looked through the window.
I know.
Why did you sit there?
But they showed like a 5-minute montage of her putting on her scrubs.
Yeah, putting the scrubs on, getting a camel toe, putting her gloves on, looking in the window, not looking in the window, not looking in the window, not. We get it. So Janice sits in the seat and she goes, then I look at the windshield and I see, there's a big bloody stain of a sweater there. So it's like an arm print of, there's so much blood on Deb's sweater. Her arm went on the inside of the windshield. Yes. And it's a complete pattern of her sweater because it was soaked in blood, like just stamped on the windshield.
Well, probably because it was so slow. She was like, what are you doing? And put her hand up there on the windshield except that she was already so bloody.
Yeah, it left a
that she was
permanent,
like,
it left a
"Now
stamp
what?"
of her sweater.
Yeah.
Again, any fucking dick with eyes could look at that and say her sweater had to be soaked in blood before the accident for it to leave a stamp print on the goddamn windshield when the accident happened and she was thrown forward.
And that her head didn't hit the fucking wind. There was no
At
place
all.
where her head hit but they were like, oh, she has a massive head contusion.
And nowhere her head
What?
did hit it. So
Yeah.
Janice, Dr. Amatuzio says, well, clearly now that I'm seeing the windshield, I see that there's this print of her sweater. Clearly she'd been bleeding before the accident. Yes!
Did no one else see?
Who missed that? How did you not see it? And then she goes, oh, God, you look at the window and there's all this blood spatter that makes an L. That's because there was so much blood on the window when he hit when he hit the car and stopped, all the blood flung forward.
Yes.
And so the blood obviously had to be there before the accident. So
Right.
she was a bloody mess in that seat, bleeding all over before he hit that car. And it is incredibly apparent by just looking at it for 1 second if you had gone to the crash
And
scene.
so gross.
Oh, I mean, it's horrible, 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 horrible. So Janice is like, obviously, she's bloody before the crash. Duh. But thank God Janice came because she's a medical person that they'll believe because they're not believing Tony Patrol.
No. And none of the other police officers who are really supposed to do things like this, like look at blood spatter and look at blood projection and look at fingerprints and where did her head.
Yes.
Nobody did that.
They did shit all.
So thank God for Janice.
So then when Janice is sitting in the seat, though, she looks at the
In
little...
the bloody seat.
Yes.
They're reenacting this and it's real.
Yeah, she's sitting in the real bloody
It's not
seat.
Carol.
No.
It's Janice.
She looks in the Jeep is the little knob where you change the side mirrors.
Yeah.
I don't have that because you got to stick your ass hand out the window and do it because mine's
I still
so
can't
cheap.
believe this about your car.
But that little knob, she's like, oh God, it's covered in long strips of bloody tissue and hair.
Well, and wasn't it missing or it was
Oh, it was there
someplace
because they
else?
showed it. No, they showed it.
But it wasn't on the mirror, was it?
Yeah, it was still there because they
it
zoomed
was?
in.
Okay. Ugh.
And there's bloody hair and tissue and all over it. And so
Okay.
Janice says, oh my God, that's how he killed her. He took her head and smashed it into that little knob.
Like it was just bashing her
Over
head
and
into
over.
it.
For a little knob to crack your skull like that, it's horrifying to think what she went through.
Right.
How many times
Right.
he had to hit her head
Right.
against that knob for it to crack her skull open and just their head was a gaping bloody wound.
bad.
He tore her head apart on this knob.
Yeah,
Think how
bad.
painful and awful and scary and horrible and traumatic and her last moments were.
Yeah.
Then the dick, bloody all over. His bloody hands, everything all over. He uses the lever to move his seat back because he has bloody soaked fingerprints all over the lever to move his seat back because he's preparing for this crash. And then he grabs his steering wheel with bloody fingers and then drives into the car on the side of the road. And they're like, how do you have bloody fingerprints already? Again, before you moved your seat back so you wouldn't hit the steering wheel. You know, he knew he was going to crash.
Right.
You know, his hands were bloody before then.
Right.
He had, why are you moving your seat around when your wife is bleeding to death? You know, why would you do that? No, you did it before with bloody hands. You grabbed your steering wheel with bloody hands to brace for the crash. How did you miss all this? How did they miss all this? And only Tony Patrol was like, does no one else seeing that his bloody fingerprints are all over the car? And
I know.
I can't. So Janice is saying, like, this is a fucking murder scene. And
Yeah.
then clear as fucking day, are Steve's footprints to where you can see them a mile away on the passenger side window because they're soaked in blood. He's clearly trying to kick out the passenger side window to make like glass, like she cracked her head on there.
Yeah.
But he was too much of a weak puss with low T and he couldn't break it. But there's clear as day bloody boot prints all over the window. How did they miss that? You don't see bloody boot prints trying to kick out a window? Why are you trying to kick out her window when your wife's dead in the front seat?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can't even. Mm-hmm. It's like so much there that they just totally missed that only Tony Patrol saw. Mm-hmm. And then finally Janice sits there and is like, oh, yeah, I see it all here. Yeah. I mean, so awful. Like such an awful violent murder scene.
Had this been since the actual death?
I don't know because...
But it was like a long time, right?
Yes, because he had to keep begging people to take a second look. So finally...
And in the meantime, what was the guy doing?
Probably porking.
Was he just
Biggins.
With his girlfriend?
Yeah. He was porking Biggins.
Okay.
Then Tony Patrol gets the word that, all right, the prosecutor finally says, whoa, wait, yeah, I guess there's enough evidence that it might be a homicide in that car. Well, finally, and so they arrest him, and Tony gets to arrest him. And he's like, Tony, come on, Tony. That you know me.
What are you doing? You can't arrest me, Tony.
This is not what I did. Why are you doing this? And he said he was calling me Tony, and he was acting like we were buds. And it's like, no, you killed your wife.
Dick. We're not friends.
Yeah. And then the brother then is like, oh my God, once he saw the complaint, saw the pictures and saw everything, he's like, holy shit, obviously.
Right.
Steve killed her. And he was so sad, and I'm sure he was sad all the time. He's tried to support Steve, not knowing what had happened.
Yeah.
So Biggins also admits to the police that she was there that afternoon with Steve porking in the cabin. Mm-hmm. Steve at 7 takes his wife Deb shopping, and that's when they walk in hand. And I'm like, had she already seen that Biggins was in the cabin, or this was after? I don't know, but she knows he's having an affair. He knows he's going to kill her that night, and he's still holding her hand at Menards.
Yeah.
Like, what an awful, horrible man.
Yeah, he's not a good person.
So then they think they went back with their purchases to the cabin, where, Steve, don't take your wife to the same place that you just porked your mistress Biggins and you didn't clean up. So there's still wine glasses and pork bed.
Yeah.
She's going to find out.
Yeah. Yep.
And she did. So they think Deborah lost it because Biggins had been there.
Yes.
And they got in an argument. Maybe she said, I'm through. Fuck you. But then she gets in the passenger side of the Jeep. He's going to drive her where? Drive her back home?
Yeah, she's
maybe?
probably like, take me home.
And that's when they think he just got in the car, grabbed her head, and just to kill someone on that tiny adjustment knob is still is so horrifying to me.
Right. How
How many blows it must have taken, and she had to know, like, oh my God, how long and how painful until you finally just pass out. Right. And it's tearing your skin apart and cracking the top of your head and tearing your skin off your skull. And blood is squirting, literally just pouring and squirting out, ceiling to floor.
Yeah.
And so Steve then is like, holy shit, I better. Then he gets in the car, starts driving the car. He just killed her and there's blood everywhere in the car. They don't know if he just came upon that car or knew that car had been parked there and left there for days and just decides I'm going to fake drive into it, or what he was going to do with her. Drive into something else, probably.
Right.
And he stages the accident, moves his seat back, prepares to smash into the thing, puts his seatbelt on, takes hers off, make sure hers isn't on. So her, she flies forward, her arm and her bloody sweater hit the windshield, leaving the whole sticker print.
Right.
Steve then has his footprints all over the fucking window to try to break out the window, but that's when the stopping motorist right behind him was like, geez, guy, you drove right into this parked car. Are you okay? And then they got, he didn't have enough time to really clean it up that well.
And he couldn't he couldn't get anything broken or made it look like,
So he goes to trial. Steve, of course, said, I'm not guilty, but I admit I did hit Deborah in an argument, but I was driving her to the hospital and then drove into the car at the side of the road.
Nice try.
Yeah, the judge was like, shut it, Buckethead. Take a suck off of this, Buckethead. So Steve gets convicted of second-degree murder. I guess. I don't know. I guess because if he got really mad at her
because it wasn't really premeditated.
I suppose.
He obviously didn't have a good plan.
No, but he gets 30 years in prison. Good.
Yes.
And then Tony Patrol says, or no, this is Janice who says, if you look long enough, pretty soon the scene begins to speak to you. Yeah. Bitch, you mean immediately? The scene spoke immediately. Immediately. And then she said, it's really just a meticulous attention to detail. Or no attention, because no attention is needed. It's an immediate, oh my God.
Right.
Immediate. Instant.
Exactly.
And she says, I've learned over the years that if we look hard, we'll eventually get the answers. Bitch, immediate answers in this scene.
You could have seen them.
But she pulled through, thankfully. She pulled through. Because of her, Tony Patrol got to arrest him. So,
yeah. Phew.
Oh. And he was just a patrol officer. His bosses let him investigate this murder. He was not a detective.
No.
So, and he solved the shit out of it.
He did. I mean, good God.
Yeah. Good for him.
They even made fun of him for not being a pro on forensic files.
Well, he didn't need to be because he has a brain.
But he did it.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Good for job, you, Tony. Thank you for being a competent man.
Has done it again. Feels good.
Yeah. So that's this shitty story.
Steve Hollermann was stupid.
Stupid and very ugly.
Yeah. Poor Deb.
Deb, you deserved so much better.
Yeah, you sure did.
And Biggins, what are you thinking? With those Biggins, you could have had a lot of men. Why are you with this piss poor example of a poop brain?
I don't know. It's a small town. Maybe she didn't feel like she had any other options.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, it happened on March 22nd. It happened in March.
Oh, so...
I mean, there's still a snow in March.
So and by Easter, so a month, Easter, he was still sick to his stomach. Yeah. So maybe it was solved within 2 months or something. I don't know.
I just found a newspaper article about it on the internet. But
if you see this car, you just will be, and then so dumb. You see the prints, and you see his bloody footprints. You see her sweater, Mark. You see how much blood is on it. You see that the blood is all flung forward when it stops. You see, his boot print on the window is unreal.
Right.
You see her X-ray of her skull. Come on. That's embarrassing, Minnesota. Let's get a brain here. I thought we had good education.
I thought we were better than that.
Well, we got Tony, so you know what?
Good job.
We did it.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like it, give us a rating, a review, share it with your friends. We love all that. You can support us by going to patreon.com and finding It's Always the Husband podcast. We have different levels, and we have some. We send you stickers once you join.
We're getting there.
And then we have some episodes there. We also have a book club, and next Tuesday, April 29th, we will be meeting at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Zoom, and that all happens through our book club too. So if you want to join, we read His and Hers this month. I hope I remember it by next week because I finished it.
I did too.
a while ago. And then in May, get this book lined up. It's called The Space Between Them by Lindsay Campbell. So that's coming up in May, but we will meet April 29th on Zoom. So we have a lot of good stuff going. Thanks so much for listening. As always, we appreciate you. Bye.